Lent is a time of healing, going back to the sin of Adam and Eve. Certainly, none of us committed that sin, and we've been through many, many, many generations of humanity since Adam and Eve. But that same rupture is there. And in many ways, our own personal journey is to intersect more deeply with God, to use our free will, God-given free will, to choose for that deeper intersection with God through prayer, through knowing His word, through knowing His truth, through being willing to be changed by the truth that we encounter. In so many ways, the story of Adam and Eve is an illustration, a story about that lack of willingness to be changed by God, to be humbled before Him, and to avoid that fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil because God had commanded us to. We've reflected on the commandments. And certainly we can say that the 10 Commandments and all that the Lord has revealed to us, all the teachings of our Catholic faith, are about healing that rupture that originated with Adam and Eve. So the Lenten season is a specific time to really focus more deeply on healing that rupture, on recognizing what sin does in our lives and in the world to wreak havoc as it did with the sin of Adam and Eve. During the Lenten season, we reflect on the gospel of the prodigal son, a beautiful story that the Lord offers, one of the parables, one of the most famous and well-known, even by those who don't really embrace the Bible for what it is, God's revealed truth, God's revealed word that is there to guide us. But for all of us as people of faith, the story of the prodigal son is a wonderful story that hopefully inspires us and reminds us of some basic truths about God. It's interesting, the setting for Christ telling that parable story. He is being challenged by the Pharisees for eating with sinners. And so he tells the story of the prodigal son. And beautifully in that story, God the Father, the image of the Father in that story, it illustrates that God is the one reaching out to us. The Father in that story reaches out to both of his sons, the son that had wandered in dissolute living, as the gospel says, and the son that stayed faithfully by his side, who is bitter at his welcome and rejoicing at the return of the prodigal son. So that image of God, this Father, is a beautiful reminder that God is always reaching out to us in mercy, but always, because God is truth, His mercy is rooted in the truth. And the truth is that in order to truly embrace His mercy, we must be willing to acknowledge our sin and establish what the church has classically called a firm purpose of amendment. I'm challenged at that as a sinner myself. And every time I go to confession and make the act of contrition, I am called to really live those words, to sin no more and to avoid the near occasion of sin. I fail to live up to that, but those failures shouldn't cause us to despair or to stop trying to intersect with God, but we should simply be faithful and continue to do our best. We can say that the sacrament of confession is a beautiful intersection with the divine. Humbly, like the son in the prodigal son story, waking up, acknowledging that we need to return to the household of the Father. And what a beautiful image it is when we go to confession. We need to remember the Father is there rejoicing, even as we approach the priest in confession. God rejoices that we have humbled ourselves enough to acknowledge our sin, to confess our sin, and to make a firm purpose to amend our lives, to take a different path, to intersect with God in truth, rather than these intersections in the world that take us further from God.
The Lord be with you. I'm Deacon Keith Fournier, and I hope you enjoyed this video from LifeSite News. Check the links in the description for more content like this. You can also connect with LifeSite News on social media and stay up to date with the latest news on life, faith, family, and freedom. Thanks for watching, and may the Lord bless you.